as you've heard, that we really enjoyed illustration. This is something has become tradition in the Book Dash, that we hire a Scriberia artist who sit with different researchers, listen to what we are working on, and they just do magical, creative, thoughtful illustrations on that. We have a lot more illustration than what we'll release, because some illustration go through tiny tweakings and changes, but today you're going to get to see everything. So as said, jump in when you see something that you have created and you would like to explain that. Just going to check quickly, Kirsty, are you on your walk or? All right, I'm going to not start
I'm
with.
I'm still live tweeting. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so because this first image is actually yours, so I was wondering if you would like to.
I can totally do that. I can totally
go for it.
So yeah, so I didn't talk about this because I didn't manage to finish the words around the restructuring the contribution. The collaboration guide. But I did really appreciate the time this week to sort of think deeply about it, and I am pretty happy with the sort of the design aspect. So just wait another 2 years for me to merge the words that I'll finally write. So what we were thinking about is that one of the things that I've been known to say an awful lot is that collaboration kind of means different things to different people, and there is no one sort of true final way to collaborate, and that thinking about the purpose of your collaboration is actually the most important aspect. And so what we've drawn here with Sophie is a contrast between open source and inner source. So that's sort of in the house or in the garden, where you've got sort of, you're doing it in the open that people can see what you're working on, versus maybe sort of in a more kind of private area. And we had some ideas around, like, do you want new members to come along, or do you have a fixed team of people that you're going to be working with? Thinking about what's going to be needed for a particular interaction. So sort of, you don't invite every person to every meeting, for example. Some tasks can be done really well by email, some are done better through a visual design or something like that. And so a nudge to sort of think about kind of collaboration looks different in different for different purposes. And then we have that notice board there to think about kind of, do you want synchronous or asynchronous collaboration? So do you want to talk to someone in real time, or is it okay to kind of read what they've done and catch up with them out of, you don't have to be working at exactly the same time. And then the last question is thinking about, like, do you need to be in person, or can you work remotely? Or do you want to try and create some sort of hybrid of those two? So I hope you like the image. I'm really delighted with it, and I'm very impressed with Sophie for kind of taking these ideas and turning them into such a beautiful illustration.
Thank you, Kirsty. This is really, really beautiful.
Can I ask you
a question? Yes.
I'm live tweeting. Can I live tweet the illustrations, or should we save that for next week, maybe when we've got them finally confirmed?
I'm sure you can live tweet like a couple of images, but not every one of them. Yeah.
It's hard. It's going to be very hard for me.
It's going to be a hard choice. I don't disagree.
I'm going to stop tweeting and just enjoy everyone talking about the illustrations instead, and we'll do like a fun thread next week.
Awesome. All right. So the second image, we do have, I'm going to quickly stop sharing and recording. Go for it.
So I really just wanted an illustration of my job, and that's what I got. So there is already a chapter on the Turing Way which kind of explains how a research ethics committee might work. So at universities, you have these RECs, which are there to make sure that projects, research is conducted ethically, meeting some decent ethical standards to avoid problems down the line. At the Turing, we're currently working on our own process, so this image probably won't be shared on the Turing Way just yet. But the idea is that there should be someone in a position similar to my own who is there to actually have a conversation. So that's me with a beard, and my glasses, and my long hair. And I'm just happy to have my own face on the doorway. No, I'm kidding. No, that was one of the important parts of this illustration. But the point is that this person is there to engage researchers in scientific, in ethical thinking. And I think the work that Nina is working on, like coming up with prompts, coming up with ways of encouraging researchers to be reflexive, is really important in this process. And research ethics committees should not be a purely bureaucratic process. It is a journey. We're all trying to figure out how to do things better. And it is a journey that we should be ready to go on with the researcher themselves, because ultimately they know what they're doing a lot better than any research, any ethicist is going to understand. So yeah, I have my backpack. I have a map to try and help them out. They come with their documents, and we're going to go speak to a bunch of people and figure out how to do research as ethically as possible.
Thank you, Ismail. And let me go to the next. This is about project life cycle. One of other researchers from the Turing called CRISPR designed it, and it is about project life cycle that has its project design, model development, upskilling, training, and everything. So, and this image is editable in terms of text. You can change it, so it makes sense for a lot of things. And yeah, I'm not gonna explain it more because I'm not sure what he was thinking. This one is about decentralized decision making that Kirsty and I designed. The idea is that within the Turing way, but in general in open source, the decision making should be decentralized. There shouldn't be just one body of people taking decisions, but it should be solicited from the community, making sure that everybody with right skill and right interest have chance to form a committee or form a working group where they are spending a lot more time to discuss one topic more than others. Something like, you know, what Ismail was saying, that people who have this not just as like knowledge, but something that they also do it in their job, they have a lot more experience on it, and then they can exchange ideas. So this one was a little, I think my images are not really sorted quite well. So what I'm going to do quickly is change this sorting by, it's hard to, by name. And I'll show you how the actual updated one looks like. So the previous one looked like that they're just talking and chilling out, but this one really shows that people are working on different ideas and collaborating together. And then there are people walking through the passage where they can go and move around. This one is from Esther, I suppose.
And I think Esther just said that she can't speak because her
Okay.
on a call at the moment. But she talked about this earlier, I suppose, and sort of pointed out that this is the value of a data management plan, the DMP, that the parallel universe person on there is gloating over the first who did not make a data management plan.
That's something Kirsty created as a nugget for Ismail, because Ismail calls his committee T-Rex. So that's just for him specifically. So he gets his face and he gets his T-Rex.
And the point is, if you don't go down the journey, the T-Rex comes for you. Yeah.
Disappeared. This is also from Esther and Kirsty, and I think I'll just let Kirsty explain this.
Yeah, so Esther sort of originally worked with Sophie on this, and then actually I think Batul and Ariel and I had a bit of a chat on the end of one of the days, thinking about kind of what the because there are actually a pair of these images. So this one is thinking about building a fountain of open data and the sort of all of the benefits that come from pooling data together. And this analogy with water comes up quite a lot with the sort of data lakes. And I think it's this links into this sort of shared resource kind of aspect. But there's another one which is zoomed in. I don't know if it's, do you know if it's the next one along? This was the original one, but you can probably skip over this one. I know. So there's another one which is, I guess it might be called birds. It's difficult to know what the it'd be called. I'll oh yeah. Look at all these pictures. Oh my god. There he is. There he is. There we go. So these are two birds having a conversation on the side of the fountain of open data, sort of demonstrating that you can have these different reuses. So you can have little conversations and say we can work on it. We can work on it together. So it's this nice little social interaction. So we split that first one into these two because they're used for quite different audiences. You know, either you're kind of encouraging people on a structural level to share their data, to put their data into an open pool, or you're sort of talking to individual people and saying, you know, there are cool benefits that you can have from having those conversations. So I love these, they're really beautiful.
This is from Nina.
Yeah, this was what we were thinking about, how to make a picture about self-reflection, which was kind of hard until Sophie has a go at it, and then suddenly she's like, yeah, here you go, and does it instantly, which is just incredible. So this is someone trying on different glasses. The idea is like you can try on different views and different perspectives is the idea of it. So taking on and off different pairs of glasses to have a look and come in and see for yourself what self-reflection can do for you. So yeah.
That's really, yeah, I love this one. This one's from Laura and Ariel.
Yeah, and Bruno as well. I gave him a shout out in the chat. He wasn't able to participate in the book dash this time, but he did come along to talk about ideas for illustrations as well. So this is an illustration for the unionization chapter, and it's showing everybody who works in research institutions, both scientists and other people who work in different roles, all joining together to fight for all those things together.
Ariel, stay there. You have a few more images coming, but this one is from Batul, who's not on the call. It's about the GitHub action where you know, you can build a GitHub action as a continuation integration workflow in your repository. So when you create a pull request, it kind of triggers a test. If you create an issue, it also triggers a test. When you merge a pull request, it also triggers a test. And this is really automated, and this is why I think the Octocat is listening. This one is about project that Hannah, Becky, and Andrea were working on. I don't know, Hannah, are you around? Do you want to just quickly?
Yeah. So this is looking at designing your repository and how essentially the idea is that the person on one side of it with the purple is stressing out because their repository is a mess, and they are trying to figure out how to structure it. And then meanwhile, if you, from looking at the chapter that we've got, you can get an understanding of a design of a repo, just immediately take it and just really easily work with it once you know how to well organize the repo in general. Yeah.
Love this one. This one's explained. This one is the Mountain of Engagement by Lottie and Ali. Does someone want to explain this?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So here we were thinking kind of like the mountain of engagement and how like it represents it, but mostly more like kind of people helping each other up it. So more of like the kind of like collaboration stuff. And then also with those speech bubbles of like, how can I contribute? Here's an opportunity for you. It's like where those interactions with like the projects and stuff. Yeah, and then also in terms of like the levels of engagement, so we have like kind of newsletter, which could be one of those like initial engagements, and the meetups, and like the co-working as you go up and stuff. So that's what we're thinking. It looks really good. I'm really happy
It's so
with it.
good. Yeah, I love it. This one's by Laura.
Yeah, so the idea of this one is to illustrate the unionization chapter in the ethics book. And what this is illustrating is, I mentioned this a little bit in my report out, is that it's great to join a union, but it's even better to participate in the work of the union. And that means like going to meetings and participating in votes and also representing other members in negotiations. And the idea of this illustration is to kind of show like this is good, but this is even better, and to sort of say unions are people powered. And it looks really, really awesome. And it was great how Sophie was able to take me sort of going, well, there's this misconception that all you have to do is sign up, and turn it into a beautiful illustration. So I'm really fond of this one. It's great.
This is about Project Roadmap. Also, Lottie was working on it. In interest of time, I'm going to just skip through some of the images which are easy to explain, as in this one is like, when you have a Google map, it sometimes recalculate the best possible route for you. So that's what the project roadmaps are like, that you can have different milestone, and you can change the path whenever something happens, or also I'm just bringing in like if you have some risk management thing in there. I'm going to skip to the next one. This one is about goat herding. That's something that we do in the lab, which is about every week someone from the lab becomes a goat herd for the lab and tells them what's happening and the direction that they want to take them by sharing resources and making sure everyone's engaging with each other. This is from a discussion we were having openly about communication accessibility that Emma was running. I'll actually have a few more from Emma, so I'm going to skip to the next one. This is about reusable code. You can have unmaintained code, which could be really scary and spiky. Whereas if you're keeping future use in mind, you make sure that they are bite-sized and they are understandable and beautiful, so a new person can join you in reviewing it and working with it. This is whistleblowing from Ariel.
I think this one is largely self-explanatory. We have got a different version as well, which removes the figure in authority as well, so that it's just showing that it's alerting not just the police but other people, and yeah, so I think there's another version of that kicking around somewhere.
Yeah, I will probably have it towards the end of this. This one is about the hidden labor. That's something that I spend a lot of time thinking about in different contexts, that a lot of open source work with volunteer work, and unlike traditional aspect where there is always competition for someone to get the spotlight, how can we make sure that everybody working behind the scene have the same opportunity for recognition, visibility, and rewards, and how we can actually make sure that the stage isn't occupied by one person. Yeah, this is the same one. This is by Emma, so I'm gonna actually give it to Emma to explain it.
Hello. Yeah, so I was writing this week, and with Marta and Maria, this chapter on communicating with wider audiences. So we're really thinking about accessibility and changing your writing for different styles, such as the ones that are coming out of the computer. And I think there's another image, isn't there, which shows someone that's like, is it the next image?
There are many versions of that image. So
there's a few versions of it. There's one with a person sitting behind that kind of looks like someone writing on an old-fashioned scroll with a feather. So to give like the contrast between you being very accessible through, there it is, yeah. So, but I wanted there to be two versions, I think. So yeah, so the difference between being very inaccessible in your writing, making it too technical, and then actually giving lots of accessibility to your research through, or by Ariel, through writing in different styles and also translating. So translating, so there's a dictionaries on the side as well to show that you can translate into different languages.
Thank you, Ariel. So I'm gonna probably, yeah, this one is by Ida, her RAM. Are you online, Ida?
I'm here, yes. Yes, so we have a light bulb because, you know, we're working on innovation and discovering, you know, something as cool as a light bulb, but we're not a lone genius the way Edison was. But there's lots of people in the light bulb, outside the light bulb, and kind of at the interface. And so it's a collective process that brings about best results. That's why this is like quite busy with people, everyone's doing something. And these little RAMs, I mean, research application managers, are basically opening the window between people working inside and people working outside and using this. And so, yeah, it's sort of sending the message, we're innovating together as a collective process, and these RAMs are helping facilitate and kind of open across, you know, open the interface, open to users outside.
That's a good story. And I think that really helps. I like that. Thank you. This is what Emma, so there's like multiple version of it, one with actual Emma in there, but another with another person. This one is about barriers, but from socio-technical aspect and privilege aspect and intersectionality aspect, that path to the same common goal doesn't look the same to different people. So I think this would fit in a lot of community work that we do, or also ethics part. And I think something that Nina was talking about, having perspective. Skip through. Advocacy. This one is also, as you heard, by Ariel, Laura, and Bruno, how we can be advocate for change. Laura, do you want to take a stab on it?
Yeah, sure, because Ariel's had to head off. Yeah, so again, this is something that's in the ethics book as sort of the broader application of doing ethical research is sometimes about advocating for change, both internally because you think the policies at your organization aren't as good as they could be, or externally to try and change something in the broader world. And so we wanted this to illustrate that it's about bringing people together and like recruiting people to a particular cause and mobilizing to say, we'd like this to change. So yeah, I'm excited to have this one as well.
Yeah, this is on Jupyter Notebook by Kirsty. I'm gonna probably just do the explanation for her, but it's the Jupyter Notebooks actually allows you to get started from, you know, putting a messy data into tidying it up, so it's much easier for yourself to understand. And it's so clear at the end that it can become a sort of a training material that others can also understand. So it's really not just about the infrastructure behind the Jupyter Notebook, but it is really about nudging for better design, reproducibility, and communication. This is a different version of goat herding. This one is about the project design, how we can get started. So you have to start by thinking for team, the funding, different research question, what methodology you will be using, what kind of ethical legal approval you'll need, what kind of license you'll use. During, you have to continuously work towards having documentation and version control beside other tools, and then finally publishing and archiving for reproducibility. This we explained. This we explained as well. There's a lot of different versions. This one is a simpler form of structuring your repository, but also like you can obviously label it differently. You know, maybe you can reuse it in your own repository to explain how your repository is organized. I think that's it. I think we went through all the images. Thank you so much.